I found my toned paper pad again and felt the urge to use it for more sketches and even for a finished illustration. The cherry blossom season is nearly here, and each year it feels like it's over in the blink of an eye. Or I can even miss it completely if there's just one unlucky storm cutting it short. So I had this idea of a cherry blossom spirit or a ghost that only appears for those days of flowers and spring sunlight before fading away again. I wanted to give her a sense of melancholy, so the sketches I made all have a lot of empty space. I placed her at the edge of the image no matter the format, too, as if she's about to leave the frame. Do you have a favorite among these 3 sketches? My materials: the tiny Holbein Irodori gouache palette, the spring set of course for thematic reasons. I also bought the full-size set finally, as I wanted to prepare gift palettes for friends before the outdoor sketching season starts. I prepared various colored pencils and started sketching with a terracotta Prismacolor, only to then switch to the Derwent Lightfast Mars Violet and never touching another color again. It's such a beautiful, subtle tone on this paper. Despite drawing my sketches on this paper, I never planned to then also paint the actual illustration on it. It's quite thin after all for a medium like gouache. But I really liked the tone of it a lot and was excited to try something new. To make sure the paper doesn't warp too much, I didn't use a lot of water and stuck to small brushes. It went surprisingly well, and the light blue of this palette looks really pretty on the paper as well. I found inspiration for the composition in this painting, The Roses of Heliogabalus by Lawrence Almatadama. It's an ethereal piece with all those tiny rose petals, and I think putting a Korean twist on it with the architecture showing tanjong patterns instead of marble, the petals of cherry blossoms instead of roses, and of course my spirit here would be a really interesting practice piece for my portfolio. But March is a very busy month with commissions and the Jeju Book Fair. I'm probably there right now when you're watching this video. So I picked my second favorite sketch for March's Patreon illustration print, the horizontal portrait. The acrylic, fully rendered painting I have in mind for that larger scene is very detailed with subtle color mixes, but for this portrait, I actually ended up going much simpler the longer I painted. Instead of focusing on details, I wanted to achieve an overall mood. I kept the portrait itself in this monochrome drawing, as if she's not part of this world, this ghost who will disappear once the last cherry blossom falls. I also had so much fun with the character design. The clothing is inspired by the Three Kingdoms era, when in the Shilla Kingdom a skirt bound high over a wide-sleeved chogori jacket came into fashion. I also gave her a tanson, a fan, for which I changed the flower pattern into cherry blossoms too. Even the earrings are based on a museum collection piece. While I'm playing a bit loose with my time periods here, combining different ones, I hope I can share some of the variety to Korean historical clothing over the ages. The Joseon era hanbok is the most famous and recognizable nowadays, but hanbok styles changed a lot over the centuries, even millennia, and I'd love to illustrate more art inspired by the different time periods in paintings like this one. Maybe a whole series of flower ghosts. The magnolia have just started to bloom too, and those are some of my favorites, so I'd already have ideas for more. Often we end up doing an art haul and then experimenting with our new art supplies, discovering new styles and directions that way. But here I did the opposite, taking some of my older, very trusted art supplies and combining them in a way that felt fresh and exciting but also familiar. Maybe you can see the similarity to my portrait sketchbooks, my master studies, or my fantasy book illustrations, or even my gouache landscapes of Korean traditional architecture. Here I feel like I got to combine all those parts of my art practice into a simple and meditative piece. While I use the Derwent drawing pencils a lot for sketching, I've also been reaching for the Lightfast ones quite often, especially on finished art or something that needs more delicate shading. They're not quite that soft and I can get more precise lines and capture fine details. I only have a couple shades that I bought in open stock ages ago, and the Mars Violet is one of my favorites that you might have seen pop up in various sketchbooks as well. Typical cherry blossoms here have a very soft white or even peachy color, so the irodori gouache paints were a great fit. So I never used pure white, but always mixed just a little bit of that warmer peach tone into it. What I enjoyed so much about this approach was how intuitive it felt. I was using all of these materials that I'm already familiar with, but combining them in new ways. So it was less challenging than a full acrylic painting, but still gave me so many options when it comes to colors and textures and patterns. Maybe because my acrylic paintings are getting more and more elaborate and can often take weeks to finish, it feels so freeing to draw something that I can complete in just a couple days, and even that is just because I had to interrupt this drawing session multiple times, as I tend to do. That also meant the lighting is a bit inconsistent across this video. We've had both sunshine and rainy days. Maybe that's why I'm drawn to the idea of making this into a series. Some quicker, simpler art to experiment with, bringing some of my favorite art materials into a new context, and just see where that takes me, until I have time for more elaborate acrylic paintings again. If you'd like to get a postcard and sticker set of my Ghost of the Cherry Blossom Season, you can sign up for the Snail Mail membership on Patreon or here on YouTube, and the larger art print is included in the Airmail print membership. Sign-ups are possible until the 2nd of April because I'll be finishing up letter writing all week. Have you tried any fun art material combinations that you enjoyed? Like I said, I'm really happy with the simplicity of this, of just one colored pencil, a tiny set of gouache paint, and this toned paper. And there are so many other combinations I can still give a try in the future. I can't wait for travel sketching this spring, of just going outside and seeing what I can find, and then maybe bringing those sketches back home and turning them into illustrations like this as well. As I was preparing for the Jeju Book Fair, I ordered quite a few extra postcards, stickers, and art prints. While printing toned paper illustrations can be scary, I really like how it gave everything a warm glow, and also really enjoyed making this detail of a cherry blossom pattern on the back of the postcard. Now I'm off to the book fair with all my prints and scenes, but also my travel palettes and sketchbooks, to hopefully capture cherry blossom impressions in nature. There's a famous road in Jeju City where the Cherry Blossom Festival is often held. Maybe I'll have time just before the book fair to get a coffee and film some impressions of this very short, kind of elusive time of the year. thank you so much for watching this very short painting process, and I hope to see you again in my next art video.